What it do, y'all? What it do? This is Coach Tot, your business manifestation coach. And it is the end of the year. So if you have not taken a look back at your business to see what it has done for the year based on your projections, you're behind the ball. We're at December 12th. At this time, you should have already looked at that. You should have been planning or forecasting your business for 2024. And you should have completed a waste analysis to know what not to take into the following year with you when it comes to your business. So you run your business the same way you run your life. You are the CEO of your life. Okay. So what I'm going to do is share with you the complete 2023 CFO recession guide. And this is information that was released for the 2023 tax year, which means January. So now it's at the end of the year. I've never read this before, but I had it in my email. So I said, hey, I need to read this to see did what they say actually line up with what I said, with what I saw during the year. And if it did, this is something that I need to add to the book club because I'm the person that will be leading the book club. Ta-da! So because I have a lot of books. So and I'm like, why not just go ahead and read? And it's just going to be in spurts. It's not going to be necessarily the whole book, but I just read. So today we're going to read the complete 2023 CFO recession guide and how finance can lead the company through economic turbulence. It's by Finance Market Research. And I think this is awesome simply because it's probably shouldn't hear that you should know or need to know. And as I started reading this, and I was like, yep, that happened. Yep, that happened. And as I'm reading this, I'm going to interject stories to try to break it down to a more granular level for those that may not be well versed in some of the verbiage that is used throughout the article that I'm reading directly from. I'm going to give you a scenario that I've witnessed in the business world if it lines up. If it doesn't line up, I'm not going to get the story because I can't break it down. I mean, I probably could, but if I don't have a real life story, then if I break it down, it may not be interpreted correctly. I'm learning that communication requires interpretation. And a lot of people would like to just say, hey, this person has a communication problem. And that's not the case because a part of communication is interpretation, which means they don't go deep enough to ask the questions that they need to ask. And assumptions are made or the interpretation is incorrect. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. And don't be worried about what's behind these glasses. This is just big eyes and no lashes. Okay, that's the only reason you're seeing the shades. Please know, always the reason for no shades. So it says, introduction. The wave of troubling economic news hasn't subsided in 2023. Inflation is still rampant, and consumer prices have only dropped by 0.1% in December 2022. And I'm just going to say 22 or 23. It's less to say. In January alone, there have already been 50,000 job cuts from US-based tech companies, including tens of thousands from Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. The overall economic outlook is not good, and CFOs in particular are quite pessimistic about the slow economic growth rate in 2023. A Duke University survey shows that CFOs believe the economy is expected to grow by only 0.7%, far below an expected inflation rate. In 2022, many companies started making the change from growth at any cost to efficient growth, and CFOs were expected to lead the way with this initiative. CFOs were caught in the crossroads of initiating changes in order to save money, but these decisions may not have been best for the company in the long run. This report will give expert advice on common actions taken during a market downturn. some of their mistakes, and tips for coming out of the inevitable recession even stronger. So, with that, I can say that there was a transition of a workforce overseas. So that is a way that cost was being reduced. There was a reduction of workforce in the US. That was another way to reduce costs, because generally the largest cost of any company is going to be payroll. It's part of your overhead, but your payroll will come to a point where it's going to be way more than what you're paying for your lease or property that you've purchased for the business or whatever it may be. But I'm leading into, or as we like to say, segueing into part 1 of the report, which is reducing expenses. Cutting headcount. After conducting a simple P&L report, that means profits and loss, many companies realize they are in financial trouble and begin by cutting headcount. Employees are usually the biggest and most glaring expense in an organization, and therefore are the first to go when the market makes a downturn. I feel this is also the reason why most Black businesses fail, because we do not know how to properly determine our overhead. Many times payroll is never part of the projections, and you should be projecting payroll. If you know that it's getting to a point where you can't do everything by yourself and you need to start outsourcing some of your tasks, then you need to write that into your budget. So expert tip, efficiency is key. CFOs need to analyze how each department and employee contributes to the company. This is known as the law of diminishing marginal returns. Do y'all see that? How did laws? Okay, because we understand the law of attraction, but it says law of diminishing marginal returns. So now anytime I hear the word law, my ears perk up. That's why I'm your business manifestation coach, but only via podcast. So subscribe. Bing. And finding that perfect sweet spot of employee efficiency is the key to maximizing revenue. For example, if a sales team of 16 people is reduced to 15, would the department be able to handle the same workload? If it's in marketing, what effect does that person have on generating new leads and the cost of acquisition? As an alternative option, can that person be replaced by a freelancer or agency? If you all don't remember, and I want to say this started coming out about 2019, 2020, it started saying that freelancing was going to become the wave of the future, where you didn't have someone, and this was a way that companies were realizing they could cut costs. You didn't have someone in a position that you didn't necessarily need them the entire year, but you couldn't necessarily afford to let them go and bring them back, because it wasn't necessarily a seasonal job, right? I'm just going to be okay with saying right, because hell, what the hell? Okay. Fuck Toastmasters. I mean, I like y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I really need to come back. Don't take no harm, but I'm just saying I got to go into a, fuck them people moment and not worry about the counter, because I am who I am. Sorry. So that was the expert tip. Currently, what I am connected to is that some companies may cut several positions and shift the work to other employees, and it can create an overhaul on the employees. But companies also will start to see a need when they look at, let me think what it's called. The name escapes me, but you see it a lot in the government, where you'll have this wave of people that start, and once you get a government job, you usually stay there and you just retire because the benefits are so good, blah, 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 blah. So you have this group of people, but as they start to age out and get ready to go into retirement, you realize, hey, we haven't trained anyone, meaning colleges don't have a high rate of students want to come in and actually take the particular major. So there's a reduction of workforce due to retirement. It's not that the company's laying them off. It's like these people say, I'm done, I done did it. So now they have to figure out. So in those instances, you have companies, which I consider to be very good companies, that will see potential in a current employee and start to train them on that new task. You can do that same thing in your company. If you know that you have, say you have a child that's helping you and your child is really good in this particular area, but they're not good enough to actually do what you do. But if you teach them that little extra step, they can do what you do. Train them and you bring your child onto payroll. And by doing that, you're also getting a tax benefit. And I haven't checked the numbers, but I think at last call, it was like you could pay them up to $12,000 a year. And these are kids, not necessarily adults. Okay. Now, number 2, evaluating salaries. Reducing expenses isn't only about cutting headcount. One way to cut down on expenses is by creating higher targets and goals for the team. This will lead to paying less bonuses while simultaneously, y'all see how I struggle with that word, but that's how you pronounce Floyd. Is it Floyd? I shouldn't even bring that in. Y'all, sometimes I'm going to have to take a break just to say, if y'all not following this Floyd and 50 thing, and now they done brought in Mike Tyson and Soldier, no, not Mike Tyson, Floyd. Because apparently, let me get back to this. Jesus. Okay, just real quick. Floyd, Soldier Boy, and Chris Brown supposed to fight. So they was saying Floyd done came in to train Soldier Boy. So 50 done went live and said, you supposed to be promoting the fight, not training the fighter. He said, well, if you're gonna train Soldier, I'm gonna get Mike Tyson, I'm gonna get Tyson to train Chris Brown. So people in the comments saying we don't think Chris Brown needs your training. But anyway, back to the lesson. In addition, there is plenty of room for cutting costs by evaluating salaries and doing an ROI analysis as well. ROI is return on investment. So you want to see, based on what I'm paying this person to do, am I getting the value of what I'm paying them? Or like if you're paying somebody to find you real estate, like are they finding you valuable real estate and they actually earned their salary for the year? Or are they just like, why am I paying them? That's kind of what you're doing. This works both for individual contributors as well as in a team setting with other employees who do the same work. For example, in a team of 15 sales development representatives, where one of them is making 20% more than the rest of the team, management needs to understand why. Is that individual contributing 20% more, or maybe it was a salary negotiating mistake by management? If they are indeed better than the rest, maybe they should get promoted or rather raise the bar higher for the rest of the team. If not, maybe it's a good time to consider removing those who are costing more and not producing more in order to get a better ROI from employees. So what I explained before I read that is basically what that is. So hopefully between the two, you understand. Expert tip. On the flip side, many CFO surveys show that the recession is expected to be over by the second half of 2023. With the economy making a recovery by then, therefore, it's important to understand the long-term implications of cutting headcount in an expected short recession. Having to rehire employees less than a year after layoffs can be an expensive and difficult process in today's employee market. It can quickly erase any money that was saved. Lastly, CFOs need to consider the implications on culture and team morale once layoffs are introduced. And we can say that we definitely have seen a recession. I remember at one point this year, I went to get a dozen of eggs and it was like $10 and some change. I said, who? And not in my America. I'm like, no, gee. That's when I started buying eggs that were already boiled, because it was cheaper for me to buy eggs that had already been boiled versus me buying just eggs. And now they're making fake chickens. So I refuse to eat chicken at all, because apparently lab grown chicken has now been approved. And there's, at my last hearing of it, there were two large food chains in the United States that is approved to sell this chicken. And a lot of people are saying it's Church's and Popeyes. I don't know. It could be like, what is it called? Darwin or whatever, the people that own Red Lobster and all that, because they go through a lot of chicken. They need a lot of chicken breast. They don't need it to have legs and wings. They just need the breast. And I feel like these fake chickens ain't gonna necessarily have no legs or no wings. It's just gonna be a breast. I said, well, just for me to know that I'm on the good, I just don't eat chicken no more. So I do not eat chicken. So number 3, reducing subscription costs. Now, one thing that I tell my clients is every year you should do what's called a waste analysis. What that is that you're going through everything that you've used for the year and that you've paid for, and you're saying, did I get value out of this, or am I just throwing money down a black hole? Like, is it doing what I need it to do? If it's something that's an annual subscription or even a monthly subscription, if it's not doing what you need it to do, please cancel the subscription. And what you want to carry forward is those things that are doing what you want it to do and giving you the return that you want on your investment. So going into reducing subscription costs, it says, after evaluating and potentially going through with reducing headcount, companies will look for other ways to cut costs. This usually pans out by focusing on recurring costs such as software subscriptions. Here are 3 ways to greatly reduce subscription costs through simple checks and evaluations. I didn't even know that was going to be in here. Like, when I decided to come and read this on here, I hadn't even got that far. But anywho, it's going to get explained in 2 ways. So tip number 1, unused licenses. The first thing to focus on is reevaluating systems that the company doesn't use. There can be forgotten subscriptions or ones that aren't used to their full potential. For example, if the VP of sales bought a software tool for VoIP calls, which included 20 subscriptions for all of the account executives in the company, a quick check by the CFO can help the company realize that only 12 account executives are actually using the service. In addition, employees who left the company and still have active accounts, such as Slack, is another common occurrence where monthly payments are being burned. Identifying systems that the company no longer uses in any number of ways can save thousands of dollars per month. Now, this is the first year since I retired as a cosmetologist where I had to sit down when I was doing my waste analysis and say, do you ever plan on going back to do hair, or do you feel you'll ever have a purpose that you'll need this license that you've been paying? I think I've been retired now for like 5 years. And I thought to myself, I'm like, no, because I don't plan on doing anyone's hair. I don't plan on coloring my hair because I want my gray to come in, and it's taking way too long. It's freaking pissing me off. But come on, gray. And I was like, no. So it's like, why go through doing your continuing education that is required and paying for a license for something that you're not going to use? There's no hair products that you need to go and purchase. So why? So I decided not to renew it. So that ended up being part of my waste analysis. As I went through different podcast tools that I had decided to use, and I'm paying for all these subscriptions, and then new stuff was coming out, and I would say, oh, this product takes care of all 4 of these products, but I couldn't cancel the subscription yet. So now that I'm doing my analysis, I can look every month, because every month I do a budget. I can look and say, okay, this is because I have on my budget whatever month I need to cancel and how to cancel. So I was like, okay, I think I can do that. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to go live and show you all what my actual budget is. Because if I add in like my entertainment budget and like stuff that I like to really do for fun, I need $10,000 a month to live the way I want to live. And That's a lot of money. But you know what? That is what I pretty much live off of, almost. You got taxes and all that kind of stuff you got to pay. So, and as they say, the more you make, baby, the more they gonna take. So, tip two, reducing packages. Oftentimes, when a company takes on a new software service, they think that using the premium package will give them the most out of their service. For example, an organization that uses Monday.com and started off with the Pro package can evaluate their usage and realize that in reality, they can accomplish everything that they need with the standard package. A small downgrade like this can add up to a hefty sum when there are dozens of hundreds of users per month. Now, I've been paying for Adobe, the whole Adobe Creative Cloud, for I don't know how many years. Like, this goes all the way back to Glamorous Effects Couture Hair Designs. That was my very first line name. Glamorous Effects Couture Hair Designs. And that just tell you right there, I had just so much going on. And as time went on, the name kept changing, and the final name that got trademarked was Glam Couture Hair. So Adobe sent me an email today and said, we have identified a duplicate subscription. So I have basically been paying for multiple Adobe subscriptions. So I'm glad they caught that, because I never caught that. So I'm so grateful. So now tip number 3, renegotiate contracts. If you have any contracts, including your car insurance, you should be renegotiating those contracts every time it's up for renewal. So do you want to call a negotiator every 30 days? No. But every year, absolutely. Call and negotiate. Look for other options, because I have a lot of things. I'm like, okay, let me see if this is the better app. Let me see if this is what I want. And then if I have a contract like I'm required, then yeah, let's take a look at this contract and see what it says, especially when you have payroll contracts. When you have payroll contracts, you can look at that contract and say, hey, I know you guys quoted me this much, and I know I started with a lot of employees. However, we had to lay quite a few people off. So now I need to have a reevaluation of the payroll package I'm on to see if it fits in with our current cost analysis while I compare it with some other companies. Okay, negotiate your contracts. Tip 4, duplicate softwares. Without spend management, many companies end up with duplicate software subscriptions. Different companies that provide the same service, for example, a company might use both Lucia and Zoom Info for databases of prospective clients. But in reality, they both do the same thing. Canceling one of them will both save money and keep the team more organized and efficient. Didn't I just tell y'all that? Okay. Expert tip. The integration report function in FP&A software solutions such as Data Rails or Anaplane allows users to download a comprehensive list with all of the softwares that your company uses, along with details such as number of users, payments, and package options. Having them all in one report will help the finance team make better decisions about each one. Now, I just had a conversation with Data Rails, and I think they said their platform will start at about $2,000 a month. So if you want to reach out to them, Anaplane, I have not heard of. And if you hear me say some like FP&A, I'm not sure what that stands for, and I'm not about to just say whatever, because I keep it real on 100. If I don't understand it, or if I don't get it, or if I need to research the information, baby, I have no problem saying that, because I do not know everything, but I do know a fucking lot. That's why my head big. A lot of knowledge up here. Okay, 4, using one's company product packages. Companies like employing the best of breed technique when it comes to software solutions by picking and choosing the best products in each category. While Slack might be the organization's communication software of choice, Zoom, the video meeting solution, and Workday, the best HR solution, a company can save a lot of money by sticking with the same parent company for all of their software services. And like all of my software services are on Microsoft. So I have Office, which gives you your PowerPoint, your Excel, your Word, and all of that stuff. I have that, and I have the Microsoft email. So I have their whole thing. And then that also comes with Teams. So with Teams, that's where I can do the chats and all of that stuff. And it has what is it called? SharePoint, which is like a shared drive, like people within the organization can use that drive to play stuff. So I use that with the production crew, where once they film the footage and they do what they need to do, then they upload it to the share drive for me to have the opportunity to review it. And then I pass that over to Professor Todd, and Professor Todd goes in and does her thing. And she has her own little podcast where she's showing the podcast technology. And there we go. So here, next it says Microsoft Live. I promise y'all, I have no idea, like stuff that I'm saying is going to stay in this report. I have not read this report, but I just know my shit when it comes to being a business manifestation coach. If I can't do nothing else, I promise you, I can get a business started. Like that's all I fucking do. Like I just like to get them set up and started. Like that's just the joy for me. But when it gets to that growth stage, yeah, I want to go do something else. But now with podcasting, I'm like, yeah, I want to stay with this through the growth stage. I want to stay with this through the growth stage. So that's why all these characters are being created. So now Coach Todd, the business manifestation coach, is over here on YouTube. Hello. Okay, Microsoft has Office, Teams, and HR Dynamics, while Google has Meet and Chat. If your organization already has Microsoft Suite and Google Workspace or G Suite, then the organization can get Microsoft Teams or Google Meet and Chat for free as part of the package. Using the full list of services from one company can cut down tremendously on cost and keep everything in one system, even if they aren't all the employee solutions of choice. Expert tip: control spending. Today, many department managers can spend without an official approval process, meaning misunderstandings and inefficient spending occurs frequently. Software such as Tapalti and Mesh Payments has spend management and approval flow functions, making the process smoother and more controlled. In addition, they integrate with many FP&A software solutions, which helps create up-to-date planning and forecasting scenarios to better understand the long-term implications of additional spending actions. Part 2, being proactive. What can you do to scenario plan? One department that works extra hard during market downturns is the finance department. Everything that happens both inside the company and in the general market influences the organization one way or another. This is especially true when companies are trying to cut down on costs, as there are always repercussions involved. Expert tip: in the current market volatility, I probably never could say that, but anywho, it isn't a good idea to sign on yearly or multi-year deals for financial planning software. Customer sentiment and markets change overnight, and organizations' needs and budgets change just as quickly. While many companies do annual subscriptions, it is best to switch the focus on ones that provide flexible and monthly contracts. Accounting software Tapalti is a great example of a monthly payment service in the automated payment sector, while Data Rails is one of the only FP&A solution softwares with a monthly subscription and flexible contracts. 2, canceling subscriptions and reducing headcount is not the only way to prepare for the incoming recession. There are also proactive ways to prepare for all possible scenarios and increase company efficiency. Companies that implement FP&A software solutions will be able to conduct scenario planning and make the best decisions possible for the organization with all of the extra work needed to analyze and plan in a time period of uncertainty with the recession on the horizon. Organizations need more financial automation in order to fill the gap. Software solutions such as Data Rails and Anaplan are significantly cheaper than bringing on another finance expert to give that boost. And they will also provide far more value in the long run through forecasting and scenario planning. Now, I just want to interject right here. From me reading, I can now tell you this is from FP&A Software, who was probably the owner of Data Rails. Because I don't think this told me, and we only have 2 pages to go, where it came from. Let me see. It says it's from Finance Market Research. That's what it says. However, seeing that it keeps mentioning Data Rails, Anaplan, and FP&A Software Solutions, and I just want to talk to the marketing people right now. This would be their lead generation magnet. So they're providing this information for free. And in return, they're getting your email. So now they can market to you for different things. Or if you call a company and you're inquiring on a product, once they take your information, then they can start sending you things. So because I have a demo of Data Rail coming up, I feel this is them sending me a little information. But let's keep reading to see if I'm right. I could be wrong. Expert tip. The biggest example of automation being cheaper than employees is Microsoft. Since the 2008 Great Recession, their revenue has nearly tripled, but they have kept their finance department's headcount flat, simply by investing in financial technologies and automation. This has made their finance department far more professional and accurate, all while saving a huge amount of money on salaries. I still say AI is the future. Like, I'm just saying. But human interaction is still required. In order to be prepared for future possibilities and the implications on the market, CFOs need to analyze all different kinds of scenarios and how they will affect the company's revenue. Finance teams often find themselves with a significant larger workload during volatile times. And that in addition to the regular day-to-day budgeting and month-end close, that is already a full-time job. In times like these, other department leaders need to step up and contribute by helping the finance team identify and understand where the weak points are and how to improve them. All of the increased contributions from other employees and analysis of the potential outcomes and scenarios will be far easier to conduct with an FP&A software solution. You guys, actuary, I keep hearing the word actuary. And it's so funny because when I first started college, I wanted to be an actuarist. I think I'm saying it right. But it was extremely hard to find a college that offered it. And then once I went on all these college tours and I had got my AA, and then University of Central Florida, they said, yes, we have that program. And they gung-hoed me up and I transferred there because I didn't verify. And then the guy said, oh no, we're gonna create the major. And I felt like, you bastard. So that's how I got into the public policy and administration. And I really like politics because there's no right or wrong answer unless it's written in law. And if it's written in law, you can still go to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court can overthrow it. They can rule one way today and another way tomorrow. So that's that. So this says, expert tip, be proactive fast. While most FP&A software tools take a long time to implement, 4 to 6 months, One solution, data rails, has a much shorter implementation time of 1 to 2 weeks for initial output and only 6 to 12 weeks for full implementation. This is because it is one of the only Excel-based financial planning softwares on the market, meaning that anyone who knows Excel can contribute and understand the system in a minimal time. That's a plus. That's a plus. Okay. Conclusion. Many organizations jump to cash-saving conclusions in times like these, but there needs to be a strategy involved as well. There are many ways to save money on subscriptions, costs, and other monthly expenses that contribute greatly to cash burn. In addition, using FP&A tools will help companies understand the long-term implications and forecast each action will cause. CFO checklist for immediate action. Reduce headcount when needed, but only after a thorough understanding of all the implications involved. Cut down on subscription costs. This can be canceling unused licenses, renegotiating contracts, or using one company solutions for all your needs. Proactive scenario planning using FP&A software solutions will help the company gain better insights into each action's implications and how it will negatively or positively affect the company. So that is the complete 2023 CFO recession guide, which was sent to me by Finance Market. So I'm going to share my screen now so you can see where this came from. Okay, so it's from Finance Market Research. They have news, ebooks, finance marketing software, about us, contact us, the complete 2023 CFO recession guide, which is what I just read. This is the link. If you decide you want one, then you can submit to get a copy yourself. So they have ebooks and marketing. Let's look into marketing. 2023 Financial Planning and Analysis Software Report, which is a different report. This is the report that we were just reading here. This is the recession guide report. So this is different. It says while most organizations continue to work with spreadsheets, many FP&A software solutions have followed suit on the cloud. This report will fully analyze the top FP&A software, compare them to competitors, and show their strengths and weaknesses. Okay. Let's see what for finance, how fractional CFOs are increasing their value when taking on new customers. CEO outlook going into the new year, KPMG. We just read that reporting risk report. And under software, cloud financial planning and analysis, product comparison, a guide to the accounting software markets. Software selection guide, a long tail of accounting packages has emerged, spurred on by a huge shift in demand from desktop-based packages to cloud-based services, which have largely been attributed to. You guys know what I'm looking for, and I'm going to keep searching until I find it. I'm trying to find an AI analysis tool that can analyze data. So I'm going to keep looking for that, because that's how I stumbled upon the course that I'm in now, just to get more connected to analytics and AI. Because I'm like, I don't want to go back to college and have to get another degree to learn AI. Like, that's ridiculous. So I found this course that is through Greenfig by way of University of South Florida. But the lady that keeps emailing me says University of North Florida. I don't care. But anywho, at this time, I do have my Google Analytics certification. I have 2 more certifications to go and 2 more modules to complete. And I have probably 2.5 weeks at this point to complete it. So I hope you guys enjoy the live. I hope to see you on the book club, where I'm trying to figure out where, I just don't know where to dive in next. But I think it's time to get back to Reverend Ike. We've kind of been away from Reverend Ike for a moment. And chapter 33 is feed your mind the right ideas. So your mind, your subconscious mind, that's what we want to try to program as we talked about in this 53-page book, Cheat Code by T.W. Kane, which we've had him on quite a few times as our special guest. So as always, I want you all to keep manifesting, believe in yourself. And if you have a question, please reach out. I'll try to help you the best way that I can, but you will not be able to pick my brain because that is out of order. Have a great day. Love y'all. Bye.